Well, money can be one of those forbidden topics in a relationship and often one of the most likely sources of conflict. Steve Siebold is a certified financial educator and author of the book How Money Works. And with Valentine's Day coming up, we thought maybe we should bring him in to share some tips so that you can have a more harmonious couple of days. Steve, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
In your book, you talk about how having different money mindsets can actually be a good thing in a relationship. How so?
Yeah, because everyone's brought up with different beliefs about money, philosophies about money, and when you meet in the middle somewhere, sometimes it can really be a better result than the extremes of beliefs and philosophies. So it works out well.
I can see how that would work out. Now, there are times, though, however, where you probably should dig in a little bit and maybe have an uncomfortable discussion over money on something that you differ in opinion on.
Yeah, if it's a big thing that's going to make a huge difference in your financial future and it's going to hurt you financially, then you might want to have that discussion or have that fight if necessary. But if it's something small, especially for Valentine's Day, I'd let that one go.
It is so subjective, though, isn't it? You warn about creating a power imbalance or a me versus you scenario. If one person earns more money than the other person, I would have to think that this is a common problem in relationships.
It really is. The studies show it's the number one problem. People fight more about money than they do even about their kids or anything else. So I think you've got to avoid the me versus you and say, hey, we're a couple and we make these decisions together, and then work until you reach some kind of compromise.
One other thing that you talk about that is a little bit of a tricky area is making sure that you don't combine emotion and money, because you say that that can be a disaster in the making.
Yeah, emotion and money never really go together in any context whatsoever, but especially in relationships, because it can turn into a big fight. And of course, the more emotional we become as human beings, the less logical we become, and you get into these crazy arguments that you can't even figure out what you were fighting about in the beginning. We've all had that, of course. So we want to try to avoid emotion if possible.
Do you have any recommendations for how you should organize your money? Do you believe in having, a group account or a joint account or having your own individual money? How would you recommend that couples manage that to maybe avoid some of these conversations that can become contentious?
Definitely. I first recommend always consulting a financial professional, because money is really no place for amateurs. It's really something you need a professional to help you with. And then decide as a couple whether you want to have separate accounts or joint accounts or whatnot. But make sure you agree on these things and you reach some kind of compromise so it doesn't become a place of contention and hurt your relationship long term.
What would you say is the easiest mistake or the most common mistake that couples make when it comes to money?
Probably drinking wine and buying things on Amazon.
I mean, that's for anybody, whether you're in a relationship or not, isn't it?
Exactly right. Yeah, especially during the pandemic, right? You start pushing buttons and boxes start showing up at the house, right?
Oh man, if only your visa didn't come up to hit you like your hangover does. Steve, we sure appreciate your time today. If folks would like more information or to learn more about your book, they can head to howmoneyworks.com.
Thanks, Jody.